All right, let's do a resume. Let's do a couple, and then we'll come back. So I'm going to switch views. Max, you ought to be able to see this. Let's see. We'll make sure I have this all right. Resume. Looks like it's been anonymized. Nothing else showing on my screen that I'm worried about. So this resume is of someone who is graduating, I believe. Yeah, Max, I want to do this one first because someone sent this one in. They're graduating in finance in May. So here in, I don't know, 4 to 8 weeks. Apparently they don't have a job yet. What do you think of this resume? And I can scroll down when you're ready. Give me your reactions, particularly because I don't know how much of my resume review you've heard, so we can always disagree violently, which will be fun.
Yeah, let's do that. I've only seen one, so I like how much space this person has used. I think that that's important, just functionally. Uh, let's see. Let's see. I like this. I like this. I think I mean, something I like the, for example, at the search fund, you want to call out what you did, screening and founding, find company information, conducting research. The one thing that I sort of just, cursory view here see is missing is the sort of did X relative to Y with an outcome of Z. So I see doing X. I see a little bit of relative to Y, but I don't see a ton of sort of results or outcomes. That's important. You want to be respectful to not sort of share information that is confidential, but you also, where you can in a resume, I think generally speaking, want to sort of quantify the impact of whatever it is you were doing. But that's what I'd say. I don't know. I like this resume. Other
Yeah.
than that,
So, Max, I've taught the STAR format here a lot, right? The
oh
same thing
great.
we interview for. Every resume bullet should have situation, task, action, results. Um, and this resume lacks results. So the situation is usually the job. Like I was at I was at this nonprofit, and then I led conversations. So that's the action I took. Um, but what were the results? And I wrote reflection essays for publication. At first, I'm like, what the hell's that about? But for publication, um, but it doesn't say again what the results were. Did you inspire other students? How do you know? Where were they published? What was the readership? I have all these questions. I was looking at someone else's. Yeah, someone here says, awesome says quant. I think he's talking about, he's exactly right. As a finance major, where the hell are the numbers? You're supposed to be a numbers person. This should be filled with how big was the small food mart? Was it a 10,000 a day business? Was it a $2 a day business? Was it $1 million turnover? You can put numbers in here. You also, drove store level sales and profitability. Great. By how much? What did you change it by? Say something. You've got a good job here. One of the rules I give, and Max, you'll get a free resume education in the side light here for your own evaluation of candidates for your jobs. They've done a good job having action verbs everywhere. So interning with is weak, but it's context. Collaborate with editors is weak. You want to try and say things in more action, but screened, conducted, interfaced, analyzed, posted, controlled, drove is the strongest word here. Complied is weak. Prepared, created, communicated. Those are all pretty good, but you got to give the results. Okay, I love that you put an ethics case study here. The people, awesome. Who awesome, by the way, his real name is Awesome, which is double awesome. That is his legal name. I've talked to him on LinkedIn. He's actually awesome. He points out correctly a finance major with no numbers. Like, totally, your resume would have gotten a pretty good grade from me until he pointed that out. He sank you. Anyway, but I love the fact you have an ethics case study. And by the way, we have a new emote in the design stage that's going to be me as the resume assassin. So soon we will have the assassin for resume reviews. that y'all can use when I go off on something that's missing. Generally, it's a good resume, but no numbers. There's a lot of good things. It does use a lot of the space. It is plain white. You could consider a picture. You could consider a little bit of color to make it stick out. But if you had numbers and results, it would be an A. No results is standard. People miss that all the time. So I'll only downgrade you to a B for that. But as a finance major with no numbers, you drop all the way to a C minus. And it's only the quality of the rest of your resume that is saving you from an F for that. So, and I've been told I'm a harsh grader, so feel how you want, but those are our pieces of advice. Any response to any of that? What are your thoughts in sales, Max?
I think that quantifying the results is super important. I don't know, if you're in sales, you generally want to sort of speak to how you attained your quota. If you've worked on large transactions, what those transactions look like. Again, you want to be respectful and not sort of name names. I think that can be a red flag if you're disclosing non-public information. But yeah, quantifying an impact is super important.
So mods will pin this. What are some signs to jump ship from a company before getting laid off? Is a hiring freeze bad news? So we kind of talked about this already, but do you want to say anything about signs to quote unquote jump ship? And give me a minute. I'll get the next resume ready. So answer at slightly more length.
Yeah, I think a hiring freeze is a good indication, although it's definitely not, quote unquote nail in the coffin. I think that, companies pause hiring all the time. I think that the thing you want to look for is business activity impacts and revenue impact. If you're close to that, and maybe you work in accounts receivable or in the finance organization, if you've got to look at the books, or at least, cash flow, and you have a feel for that sort of drying up, that's usually an indication that the business is going to have to pull back. If you're in sales or account management, or even customer support, and you're seeing just a sort of mass attrition event happening, that's another indication. Here's what I'll tell you, it's not going to be rocket science. Unfortunately, if a business is having some sort of a material impact to their operations as a result of coronavirus or something else for that matter, you're probably going to get a feel for it. I think that if you have a unique position that gives you a perspective before others, then that could be a bit of an advantage before morale starts to tank and things become toxic. But again, it's customer loss, revenue down, sales activity down. You'll also notice, I think, just generally, more malcontent than normal, and a bit of like a malaise around the company. You can usually sort of feel that vibe, and so those are the things I'd sort of say to look out for.